Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you're watching this transmission. Tis I, Mike Martins, your housing discussion talk guy. I don't know anything, but I got some really good articles I want to share with you guys that are buzzing around. A lot of these are taking light today. It's something that's been around for a while now. I think it's been around for about 3-4 years, and it's a rental bidding app. That's all we need, is bidding on everything. And rental bidding apps, why do they even exist? Wouldn't you want to interview the person properly? It's about who's got the most money, not about who is the best qualified renter or tenant, or you know what I'm saying, right? And landlords are, it's all about the almighty dollar. Everybody knows the dollar is the almighty. That's it. That's the top, the cream of the crop, and that's what everyone's pushing for. That better life. People believing that a lot of money is going to make their life better. So I dedicate the show to rental bidding wars. It is definitely a housing crisis because I got 3 articles just hours old from all over the English-speaking countries. So let's take a look. It's disheartening. Home rental bidding wars reach the suburbs. So you think it'd be in the big cities, It's reaching everywhere. A phenomenon isn't unheard of in Vancouver, but renters say it's popping up in the Fraser Valley as market tightens. So people are not basically renting to the most qualified person now. They're just renting to the person with the most money. And it's very disturbing. Erin Sulch is known for helping out homeless in Surrey, BC. But this week she found herself in need of a helping hand when her landlord handed her an eviction notice. So her landlord handed her an eviction notice, and she's helping people find homes. Erin Sulch has been helping out the homeless for years. She runs a pop-up soup kitchen on Surrey's 135th A Street. For the last year, she gave hundreds of Christmas cards to homeless people with the help of school kids and seniors. But 9 days ago, she found out herself in need of help when her landlord gave her an eviction notice. For a couple of hours, I cried. I was terrified. And then you put your nose to the ground and search Craigslist and Kijiji, she said. So people are logging into the comment section. Yes, I am live. Wise Man just logged in. Hello, Wise Man. How are you? And today we're talking about, if you're just joining us, bidding wars happening everywhere. These new apps. They're supposed to help people, but how are they helping people when you're not renting to the most qualified person and you're renting to the person with the most money? Anyways, her search was futile. What she discovered was that bidding wars, which aren't unheard of in Vancouver, were now happening in North Delta, Surrey. She described the units she's looked at as disgusting and unkept. You go to an open house and there are 30, 40 people there. There are people around the kitchen table. The rent is $2,100, and this guy is going, I'll give you $2,250. This other guy says, I'll give you $2,300. And you're just standing there like, but all I could afford is $2,100, she says. Oh my goodness. Unaffordable rents. A recent city staff report noted that the proportion of people living in rental housing in Surrey is rising, creating more demand in a tight rental market. As a result, the report said there has been a significant increase in the number of people who are paying rents that are considered unaffordable for their income. It also said that the proportion of renters households living in overcrowded conditions is higher than elsewhere in the region. Sulch, who works 2 jobs and lived in her last place for 8 years, is in the market for a ground floor unit to house herself, her daughter, and 3 grandsons, one of whom has autism. I never thought it would be such a hard thing to find a home, she said. It's disheartening. She is sharing her story to sound the alarm over the lack of affordable housing in the Fraser Valley. She worries that families on fixed income or seniors will do what will they do if they find themselves in her situation? As for her, it turns out doing good deeds pay off. A complete stranger saw her Facebook post about needing housing and has contacted her to a landlord who is willing to rent the place to her. So now there's a lot of this bidding wars going on, and you wouldn't believe how it happens in places like New Zealand. There's people going down the stairs from the unit, like going, there's obviously a staircase to go up to the house or something, right? And they're coming out and they're going on the sidewalk and they're going over halfway around the block to see the unit. I'm not kidding. But then what happens if you get some guy, I will pay $5,000 a month and I'll pay the rent? Fine, he signs everything, gets everything, he's willing to pay $5,000 a month. And then what if he doesn't pay? You got to wait 6 months to evict him, or whatever time it takes to evict the person. So you see what I'm saying here, right? This was posted like not even an hour ago. JLL reports an increase in competitive bidding in the rental market. Again, renting has become more desirable than ever because in many cases. So this is in the UK. Competitive bidding in the rental market has returned, according to estate agency JLL. The firm's lettings team said it witnessed 57% increase in applicant registrations in March and previous month, and a 40% increase in offers made. Wow, 40% increase in offers. It also reported competitive bidding was now taking place on a number of schemes, and rental prices on some developments were reaching 5 to 10% more than expected. JLL, head of residential agency Lucy Morton, said, it has been an exceptionally busy few months for letting teams across all the JLL agency offices, and well-presented properties have let with fewer voids than in recent years. The quality of the rental stock has increased considerably, with renting no longer considered the second option but preferred option for many. So because of the housing crisis in the UK, a lot of people are having this problem where now everybody's going to pretty much have to rent because they missed the housing opportunity. And the people that bought in the last 2 years, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but we'll see what happens with the market. Punitive changes to stamp duty have shaped how people are interacting with property market, most notably at the higher end. Once upon a time, if you were looking to live in London for 2 or 3 years, you would automatically look to buy. But now the cost of a stamp duty, along with more stable price growth, you are likely to only break even in this time given the cost of buying a home. So even going there to work and, I'm going to buy a place for a few years in London, forget it. You're not even going to break even. She added, renting has become more desirable than ever because in many cases you're not just renting a home but embedding yourself into a lifestyle. Many new schemes, including Rathbone Square, 190 The Strand, have proven exceptionally popular, proving amenities such as gyms. I say it's gym, but I say gyme. If you watch The Simpsons, you know what I'm talking about. Gyms, residence, lounges, and even cinemas, in addition to luxurious living space, giving its tenants more options than ever. An unspoken perk of renting is the ability to right size. So, this is happening right now. People are bidding on these apps. This guy here, I don't want to go through that again. Toronto, Vancouver rent bidding wars leave tenants battle scarred. This is an intense story about this guy named Ahmed, who, with a stable, well-paying job, high credit score, and impeccable references, Ahmed is your dream tenant. That is at least what Ahmed thought before the start of this last house hunt earlier this year. The 33-year-old product manager isn't a newbie in Toronto's real estate market. Born and raised in the city, he's been renting various condo units since graduating from university. Nothing, though, had prepared him for a 4-week ordeal of his latest apartment search. Ahmed, who had just broken up with his girlfriend and was sleeping on an inflatable mattress at a friend's house, was in a hurry to find a new place. Adding to urgency was the fact that his friend's wife was pregnant. Oh my God. But it was only 30-plus rental viewings and 7 bidding wars that he was finally able to secure a new home. I must put in an application for 8 to 10 places, Ahmed told Global News. Holy crap. So it's getting tough. It's getting tough, especially with bidding wars and bidding wars becoming a new... Well, it's been around for years, but now... And let's look at this video here, guys. This one's pretty good. This is a new one, rental bidding wars in Toronto. So let's get this one going here.
The person who lives in this cute but tiny one-bedroom apartment has been paying close to $1,500 a month in rent. But her landlord has evicted her because he says his son is going to move in her place. There was another unit in the building, the same size, available, but for $1,800 a month. And she was advised that if she really wanted it, she should sweeten the deal. She offered $1,825 but was turned down. She figures the new tenant is probably paying close to $1,900. It's this kind of bidding war that has become all too common in Toronto's rental market.
I've had landlords get back to me, before I've even met them or seen the place, get back to me with a long list of requirements. They want a letter of employment. They want, credit check. They want me to come prepared with all of that stuff before I've even seen the place and know if I'm interested.
As soon as you find that great place, you better be ready to get in there and have great references to sign, because it'll be just snapped up.
City of Toronto stats confirm how competitive the market is. The average price of a 2-bedroom condo in 2012 was just over $1,600 a month. In 2017, that number jumped to $2,400, an increase of 50%. Meanwhile, the vacancy rate dropped to less than 1%. This real estate agent works with renters to help them find a place. She says you have to treat the process like you're applying for a job.
You have to be the best possible tenant. So I have a list of paperwork that I ask my clients to get ready well in advance of going to look. Most really great units will disappear in 24 hours. So you have to be ready, and you have to have everything ready. You have to know what your credit score is. You have to have, a letter from your employer. The list goes on and on.
There are rules prohibiting eviction of a tenant, except in a few limited circumstances. But there's no doubt that occasionally a landlord will try to skirt the law or outright break it. The Advocacy Centre for Tenants Ontario blames the government for not building more affordable housing.
Government has left it to the private sector to take care of people's housing needs. The private sector is interested in making money. The private sector isn't interested in providing housing to people that they can afford. The government has traditionally filled that gap for the last 20 years or so. They've just neglected that obligation, and we're left in a crisis here.
Ken Hale says he's hopeful that the federal government's promise of a national housing strategy will help improve this situation. He also applauds the provincial government for tightening up the rules in the last year, but he says it's important for voters to make sure housing is a top issue in this June's election. I'm Pam Seidel, City News.
We asked the Ministry of Housing about the state of rental housing in the City of Toronto. In a statement, they tell City News, we are starting to see encouraging signs that demand is catching up with supply. A report from Urban Nation.
And that's that. That one's there. And then let's move on to the next one. Seattle bans rent bidding in latest attempt to keep disruptive tech from compounding housing crisis. So if you guys are just tuning in to my channel or haven't been following me for long, I've been following the Seattle market too and my trends in the housing market. And in Seattle, you guys have no idea how the housing market there has been going from $8,000 to $20,000 a month increases per month in value of a house. It's crazy. It's one of the hottest. Seattle is one of the hottest markets right now in the United States because after the foreign buyers tax was implemented in the city of Vancouver, a lot of investors went south to Seattle, and then the other ones went to east to Toronto. So Toronto is cooling down right now, big time, and double-digit losses, where Seattle is just on fire. They're not implementing any tax laws or anything to protect the American proper. So it's very interesting, and I'm keeping my eye on what's happening in Seattle right now, because this is phenomenal what's happening there. $20,000 increase value in 1 month in a house. It's crazy. Oh, people are commenting. It's the same with South Florida and LA. You better have good credit. Palo Alto has streets full of trailers and commuters not wanting to pay rent. You can't live in a trailer in Cali, and someone says people do. So that's what's happening. So Seattle's banning rent bidding in the latest. And what is this? REI, New South Wales. That's in Australia. Latest news. Is rental bidding legal? The legislation does not prohibit rental bidding in New South Wales or Australian Capital Territory, Tasmania, Western Australia, Northern Territory, and South Australia. Although rental bidding is not specifically outlawed in most Australian states, it may come under pressure of auspices of Section 18 of the Australian Consumer Law. Section 18 says that the person must not, in trade or commerce, engage in conduct that is misleading or deceptive or is likely to mislead or deceive. So there it is. That's in New South Wales. Let's go over to the BBC. Bidding war for homes to rent. So here we go. People looking for houses to rent in many parts of the UK are encountering a new hurdle in their hunt for a home. Landlords, or more often their letting their agents, are increasingly asking would-be tenants to complete by making a sealed bid offers for the home they want. Particularly in this practice is relative commonplace in the market to buy homes, but it is seen as a new development in the rental sector. Horrible. Many more families and individuals find they cannot afford or get mortgages, so they are having to compete against each other to secure tenancy. Jacqueline Cooper and her fiance James are young professionals couple who are suddenly faced with a move from Taplow, Berkshire, when their landlord decided to sell up. The couple count themselves as lucky, having just managed to rent a small terraced house with a garden in nearby Windsor. So some people get lucky and some people don't. So it's another problem across the UK. So you're bought out of the market and then you are, you can't even rent. Let's move on. Renting, it's war as desperate tenants face bidding for properties. Is this New Zealand? Where is this? This is The Guardian, so this is the UK. Website, Auctionlets goes live this month amid fears it will push up rental prices even more. More of this stuff going on. This is an older article. So this was 2014, so they are worried. So this is from back in 2014. They already saw this was going to become a bigger problem. And look what's happening today with these new apps that are being developed for this. New Zealand, Wellington landlords fuel tenancy bidding wars as rental crisis bites. Greedy Wellington landlords are fueling bidding wars among potential tenants by exploiting the capital's desperate rental squeeze, and there's nothing in the law stopping them. Horrible, horrible. It's crook. They're exploiting desperate people in the middle of a housing crisis. Yeah. So it's like, I remember when Hurricane Wilma hit Broward County, there was some guys selling a bottled water. They were selling a case of bottled water for $40 for a case of water. So they were exploiting, Mother Nature's hurricane by taking what they can from the unprepared, right? Someone says, Toronto, a great city, but it's not that great. They have bidding wars. Oh yeah, to every major city now, these applications for phones and cell phone, are all coming up everywhere anyway. And it's going to be the way to do it. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you would read, there would be, oh God, what you call it? An ad for a car for sale. Way back in the day, there wouldn't even be a photo of the car. You'd read the ad, you go out, kick a few tires, look around, check the trunk, check the back seats, see if there's space for the family, open the hood. And now, man, you go on an app, you see the car, you see the mileage, you see the VIN number, you see everything, and you know what I'm saying? Luckily, they're not bidding on vehicles, because if they did that, then nobody would be driving. You know what I'm saying? It'd be so expensive to drive. Walking Journey. Just logged in, guys. Check out Walking Journey's channel. Two-time world champ there, Walking Journey. And everyone's is commenting here. Let me just scroll down a bit. And then someone's saying here, Mike Martins, if you had an apartment in the city you were renting out, would you charge affordable rent or go with market price? Well, if I had an apartment in the city, depending on which city, if it was Vancouver, I would keep it fair. I wouldn't go crazy, right? I would actually interview the people. I wouldn't even do a bid. I would interview I'm the type of guy, I know a lot of people don't know me, but people that do know me. I would see, oh, wow, you have 2 kids. Oh, wow, you guys really need this place, eh? Okay, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm this working for the city and this now. What does your wife do? She's a teacher. Okay, you guys are fine. That's fine. And I'll be very, very fair when it comes to renting. As long as I could cover the mortgage and the, strata fee and all that stuff and property tax, I would just keep it within that boundary, right? I wouldn't take a loss, but I would keep it within a fair boundary. You know what I'm saying? Is this channel or is this someone else? I'm not sure what you're asking. I'm confused. No good deed go unpunished. So rent at market. Let's move on. So New Zealand's facing that problem. Bidding for a bed. Tenants haggle over rent prices on controversial new websites. Man, this is happening. Every English-speaking country is always the first to get all the new and applications and technology. And other countries could watch from the background and say, yeah, well, we're not doing that here. No way. Let's go here. The Uber of renting is taking renters for a ride. Oh, my God. Dylan says, I can't understand the temptation to gouge. I had 75 applicants for my suite. Holy Christ. I am so grateful to God above, like that, I did the right, I did well in life and made the right choices. And I bought my, I just own my house. I don't have to deal with, with this, because this brings on unnecessary stress. I mean, this brings on, this starts growing stuff inside of you that you stressed out, especially with this guy's story right here. I don't want to go through that again. Toronto, Vancouver rent bidding wars leave tenants battle scarred. I feel it, man. I know where you're going through. So let's head to Uber renting is taking renters for a ride. In the middle of a housing crisis, things could be about to get even worse for people who rent unless the ACT government acts now. In November last year, ACT government passed amendments to Residential Tenancies Act to legalize bond guarantees, and amendments are to commence from May 7th, meaning agents could ask renters to pay a third party for a commercial guarantee instead of lodging a cash rental bond. People who rent will have to pay a fee to this third-party company. Oh my God, it's even getting worse. It's just when you thought. This from the Canberra Times in Australia. This is The Guardian. Calls for rental bidding apps to be banned in New South Wales. That's in Australia. Competitive nature of housing market sparks concerns. The apps will fuel skyrocketing rents. Someone's commenting, get out of Australia. Yeah, the problem is I don't know if you guys remember the last video I did about Australia, where you could, with the price of a shed, a 2-bedroom house, a small 2-bedroom house, buys you 3 4-bedroom, 3-bath pre-builts in just outside of what was that in Florida? What was that city? It wasn't Homestead. It was Fort Myers, outside of Fort Myers, and yeah. So everyone's talking, yeah. So this is getting tough. People, it's getting tough for people, man. People trying to get out there. I mean, remember what, I don't know if you remember that article I read in Dublin. Dublin. Let's see if I find it here. Dublin rent new hires. Yeah, so what's happening in Dublin, in Ireland, is the rent is so high that people, professionals coming out of university or higher education schools, or whatever they're going to do, can't get a job in Dublin because they can't afford to move in to pay the rent. They can't. So they're passing on jobs. So, average rents in Dublin have hit a new record, a high of €1,875 per month. That is $2,266 Canadian. That is like 1,900, no, 2,000 bucks American probably. Haven't checked the euro in a while, so. The average rent for properties across Ireland has hit a new record high according to the latest draft quarterly report. According to the draft rental price report, average rents for properties listed on its website rose nationwide by an average of 11.5% in the year to the end of March. The average monthly rent across the country at the end of March was £1,261. This marks a monthly increase of €232 compared to the previous peak a decade ago in 2008. So, Dylan's having a conversation with people in the comment section. I thought they were talking to me. So here it is. Longford, Roscommon, the most expensive, Dublin, €2,052. It's huge. South Dublin City, like $20 difference, €70 difference. Central Dublin, 1,000. There's no, it's all the same. That's a lot of cake, man, for rent. Dude, you're renting, you're using the place. You're not gonna keep it forever. Holy smokes. So, I've spoken, so this is from, this article's from 5 days ago. So, I have spoken to several employers in Dublin, and they tell me, they've emailed me, and they told me the same thing that I'm saying. Mike, we can't get the hires we need because they can't afford to move to Dublin. They can't move to the capital. So, and I told them, move outside. Move 40 minutes out of the city. Move an hour out of the city, man. Move to Northern Ireland if you have to. Just find a place where you could relocate, especially if it's a tech company, especially if it's a company that it's very mobile, where you could kind of work from outside the big cities. You don't have to be in the big cities, you know? So someone's saying, I live in central Queensland, Australia. Nice, quiet town with reasonable prices. Not all of Australia is bad. No, of course it's not all bad. It's just the desired, like the super desired big cities everybody's looking for, and or looking for the bigger jobs or the lights of the city, you know, the glimmer and the glitz. But Dublin is, I know, Edinburgh is too. Check here. Oh, I spelled that wrong, but that's okay. Yeah, rules being changed to fixed term rentals. Oh, yeah, they're changing the rules in Scotland too. Private rentals, new dawn for Scottish private rentals. So they're changing things here. The private residential tenancy rules will bring an end to fixed terms rentals, meaning the leases will effectively be open-ended. Okay, so it's not like a bad cell phone plan where you get a cell phone and you have to sign a thing for 100 years, 100-year friggin' contracts, and you're screwed, and then gotta pay $800 to pay it out. And average rent for a 2-bedroom property in Scotland goes up more than 4%. This is from the end of 2017, so it's about 5 months old. So the price in Edinburgh too is going up. The average monthly cost privately renting a 2-bedroom home in Scotland stands at about £643. So that's not too bad. £643. It's still like, it's like 900 American, so it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? So it's about 1,200 Canadian. So in Glasgow and other places, rents are going up in those other areas too. But Scotland looks like, but I see, the thing is, are they making a lot less money in Scotland? That's the thing. You know, are they making a lot less money? That's important, because if they're making a lot less money... Oh, here we go. This is from 6 hours ago. Tenants' rights. Can a landlord kick me out? This is from 6 hours ago. Can a landlord kick me out without reason? And how much notice should be given? And then, can a landlord increase rent at any time? And how much should I be given? So this is a good one here. This is becoming a problem. So there's articles being pumped out every couple of hours about this, because interest rates are going up. So this is from 6 hours ago. This article was posted. So the reason why you're seeing a lot of these articles coming out right now is because the rental market's going to take a hit, because interest rates go up, and a lot of people refinancing their mortgages this year. Up to 50% of people in Canada will be refinancing this year. If they are refinancing this year, do you know what's going to happen, people? It's very simple. They are going to raise the rents to accommodate the difference in interest rates or interest hikes. And they will accommodate and increase the rent, of course, so they're not in a negative cash flow position, right? Yeah, so everyone's commenting here in the comment sections. But even tech companies in Vancouver, I think the pay for those are still low. Oh yeah, the pay is very, like, BC, in my opinion, I've seen, like how I've seen, BC is, it just doesn't pay. BC is cheap. It doesn't like to pay, you know, it's, I'm not trying to, you know, it's one of the most expensive provinces, but it's also one of the provinces that employees don't make a lot, right? So it's kind of, that's why we're losing so many doctors to the United States. Everyone's moving US, everyone's moving stateside. So guys, I just wanted to put this quick vid up there. I wanted to, I don't know, put this out there for you guys. And you're going to start seeing rental wars now. And you're going to start seeing these double digits saying, Mike, when will you see income rise again? It's been the same for years now. I made a video on YouTube, guys. I need you guys to check this out. This answers his question there. If you go to my channel, do this, guys, here. I'm going to do a free plug for myself here.
Hey, YouTubers, I'm here at the local Walmart.
I'm going to go here to
like 6 or 8
my channel. I'll show you what you do. You go to my channel.
The original Star Wars cast.
It's so slow. And then you go to the little magnifying glass here. And then you go search. Just type in broke. It should come up. Watch this. Why am I always broke? This is a really good video. It is an hour long though, but it's really, really good. I actually discuss how I take a pay stub or pay wages for teachers from 1959 and compare it to today, or 1955. I compare when the pay ratio was 1-to-1. I explained what a 1-to-1 pay ratio is in that video. So if you guys want to watch that video, please watch that video, guys. It's called Why Am I Always Broke? And I make up words, but I explain what the words mean because it's very hard for me to find words from what I'm trying to discuss here. But please watch this. Go into my magnifying glass here, type in broke, and watch this. This video is really good, and I'll skim through it for you guys. So what I do is I take a mortgage application for a house that's for sale, and then what I do,
explain to you guys what the deal is.
Measuring worth, and then I go into buying power, understanding or trying to educate people on how buying power has changed. And then I start going into table format. There's a format there of the mortgage that I'm trying to get. There's the cost of living in 1959, what the average cost of everything cost you in 1959. So 1959 was the golden year because that was the year where you made enough to cover your nut, but you had way more money left over for leisure, right? And this goes into a lot of really good things. I even look at a time chart, and then we go into doing a calculation, how much it would cost. And I think this is the one. Yeah, the cost of living in... Yeah, why am I always broke? Yeah. I get the pay stub. I get a pay stub from 1950 and showing the what teachers made from 1959 to like 1990. And you see the pay doesn't catch up to the cost of living. And that's why people are always broke, period. You're always going to be broke. There's no way to make it because it's set up that you won't make it. I don't even know if that even makes any sense. So let me know what you guys think, guys. I am going to go to sleep. I am tired. It's been a long day today. Watch that video. Let me know what you guys think. I think there's going to be huge rental wars now when people are going to be re-signing their mortgages with higher rates, and they're just going to have to offset and pass on the expenses to the tenants. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Have a good night.